Welcome everybody, it's Element. Oh my gosh, it's out. The Eisendrache trailer is finally here and it is amazing. I got so hyped watching this thing. So what we're going to be doing inside this video, we're going to be breaking it down from start to finish. And if you guys want to watch the trailer without me talking, I'll have a link to it down in the description if you guys want to check that out. But once you're done watching that, don't forget to head back over here as fast as you can. So without further delay, let's get into it. So the first thing we hear Dempsey actually talking, and he says he's going somewhere cold, slap bang in the middle of another enemy research station, hell-bent on advancing the enemy war machine, Eisendrache. Before I continue on, I want to make note that when he says German war machine, it's showing the rocket in the background, which is strange because when he says German war machine, they're usually talking about the giant robots. And now it showed the rocket instead of the robots. It's strange. I'm not too sure if it actually has any importance or not. But then he goes on to say, the fabric of the universe itself is at risk. And I'm not too sure what he means by this. He can mean multiple things. And I'm just not going to speculate at this point. So let's actually get into what actually we can see inside this video. So the first thing we see is the ski lift. Actually, we saw the castle before, but whatever. More importantly, we see this lift again, and it looks like there's something happening inside there. I'm not too sure. I can't really tell myself. But after that, we get this image of not Richtofen, Dempsey standing there, and it looks like there's rather something moving behind him, or that he's in something that's moving. I can't really say at this point. But then we just get some images that we had before. Then we get an image of the rocket that I was talking about. And I'm actually going to come back to this rocket because I want to have, because later in the video, there's more interesting things about it. But then, right after that, we get an image of the teleporters. Oh my gosh, the teleporters from the giant are in the Eisendrache. So hyped about that. It looks so cool. I really like the teleporters. They just look so cool, in my opinion. But just want to mention that. And there's actually one other thing I want to mention, that there looks like there's a lot of fire extinguishers all over the place. I'm not too sure what that's about, unless they're not fire extinguishers and something else. But then we get this image right here. And if you look, I want to just make note of one thing and keep it in your mind, because we're going to come back to this later in the video. And if you look right there, there's a statue of a dragon. And we will come back to that very soon. Well, actually not very soon. It's probably at the end of it, but whatever. Then we see this thing for a couple frames. I want to show you two things about it. First thing I want to show you is if you look all the way to the edge of this, you can see like an area down there. It looks like we'll be able to access that area. I'm not too sure at this point, but to me it looks like we'll be able to. But once he's finished climbing up, for the last frame, if you look all the way to the other edge of the screen at the top, more like, you can see double tap root beer, and just want to point that out. It's kind of obvious I was going to be in there, but whatever. And then we get the Panda Soda. Yep, he's returning, and I know some people like him, some people don't. I think it's mainly leaning towards people that don't. But I do want to mention a few differences that he has. So if you think back to Origins, where he first debuted, I guess you would say, and in the one hand he had a claw, and the other one he had a flamethrower. But I'll have an image up right now, and it'll show that he still has his flamethrower, but in his other hand there is no longer a claw, and it looks like it's powered up by some blue liquid, which I think is safe to assume is element 115. So I am really hyped to find out what the heck that weapon is. It's probably going to be super annoying, but whatever. I just can't wait to find out what it is. And then another notable difference is that there's a yellow thing on his chest. I'm not too sure what that is, and if you guys have ideas, go ahead and tell me. But the last thing I want to mention about him is that there's the numbers 935 on his leg. That's new also, and of course he has spikes on his shoulders too. Again, that is also new. And moving on from that, we see this. And at first, I did not believe this was a trap. I thought it was something else. Everybody else was saying it was a trap, and I was wrong. I know I was wrong. But it turns out these giant globe things are traps, or they could be two things at once. You never know. Then we just see again a couple clips of people Richtofen killing. Then we see them running, but more importantly, we see these images saying the character's name and their position. And Nikolai is apparently a sergeant, Richtofen's obviously a doctor, Takeo is a captain, and Dempsey is a corporal, which is interesting because if you guys look at Dempsey's name, it says Tank Dempsey, but Tank is in quotation marks because of one reason, because Tank isn't actually his real name. If you guys didn't know that, you found out now. Next, you see a couple more frames, but then this one, we see the rocket again, and I want to freeze it right here because if you look at it right here, we can see the gobblegum machine, which you might not think is relevant or important at first, but that means, because that thing's there, that means the gobblegum machine's there, we can actually access this area and we'll be able to go down here. But then right after that, we see the rocket taking off, and I am not too sure if we're the ones who's going to be sending off this rocket, or is it just something that happens while you're playing. We can guess all we want, but I'm pretty sure it's going to be something we do. Then we just see a couple other things, and then we see Dempsey go into town with this death machine. And I can't be 100% sure, but this death machine is because if you remember back in Black Ops 1, how you got the death machine, you got it through a power-up, but inside Black Ops 2 and Mob of the Dead, you got it through the mystery box, so it could be either one. I would prefer it being a power-up. I don't know, just my opinion. I didn't really like it in Mob of the Dead. It was okay, but whatever. But then we see this, and it looks like there's going to be multiple ways to get around this map. There's going to be walking and running the normal ways, but there's going to be teleporting, which we have yet to see a second teleporter. But then we see these bounce pads that look similar to the ones, function similar to the ones on Moon. But I'm not too sure exactly. They could be something else different, but there's two things I want to show you, two frames I want to show you while he's actually going through the air. So the first one is I want to show you the bottom, and as you guys can see at the bottom, you can see the the rocket, and it looks like how you get to this area, you're going to have to go walk past the rocket and then walk over here, assuming, of course, and then a few frames later we see the lift right here heading up, so we kind of get an idea of how this map is going to look. I'm not too sure if going through the rocket is the only way to get down here. Who knows, maybe there's another path going down the other side to get down here. We're not too sure right now. We see this bow and arrow, which is pretty interesting because it looks similar to the one from multiplayer, the Sparrow from multiplayer. It does the same thing, it shoots and explodes. But then we see this seeming like the Puffkin language written on it, and I actually didn't figure this out. I saw some other YouTuber, I think it was Liam, who found it, and it looks like the Puffkin writing for feed. So we're going to come back to that, and I'll show you why it's relevant in a little bit. But then right here, another thing I did not believe but turned out to be true, that there is going to be Wonder Fizz. And as for the perk, I do not know exactly what perk it is because I can't really tell from the thing. There's letters on it, but I can't tell. Maybe I'll look into it more and find out later, but I'm not too sure at this point because it could possibly be a new perk, because for the next clip right after that, we see like this. Who knows what the heck's happening here? Zombies are getting getting shot with electricity and just flying away. What is happening here? I have no idea. Again, I have no idea if that's a perks effect or what, and I'm just not sure. But moving on from that, we can see them just killing zombies, and then we see this new trap system, and this actually reminds me of the traps from Exo Zombies, because in Exo Zombies they had doors closing and opening and closing to kill the zombies, but now it looks like we're going to have something similar with these gates inside Treyarch Zombies, which is way better, by the way. And just wanted to mention that, and we can see a gobblegum machine right there too. Now we see this dragon, and if you guys remember, I told you guys to remember that statue. This is the same exact area, so I'm not sure how you actually bring this dragon's head to life, I guess, to actually feed these things, and it's just something else, and I'm not too sure how it's done. But another thing I'm really excited about is that they're going to have these like weird beings inside there besides the zombies, because if you guys really think about it, these weird things never happened with the original characters. It was always with the Mob of the Dead characters and Shadows of Evil characters. There were no Apophkins, there were no weird things popping up, there was no weird Shadowmen, and in Mob of the Dead there was a Hellhound coming out of the wall. But now we're finally getting a dragon coming out of the wall, like by magic, I guess, or something. And it's with the characters, with the original characters going to be the ones actually doing it. I'm really can't wait to see the reaction to it, because all the other characters had mediocre reactions. I really hope they have cool reactions to these ones. But then we can see this, the gravity spikes. You know, they look like they're just, I'll just call them spikes for now, but these are very similar to the gravity spikes from multiplayer. If you played multiplayer, it's like he's the first guy you get, so you probably have used him before unless you haven't even touched multiplayer. But also I want to mention, if you look in the background, you can see one of those launch pads right there. We've seen in the we didn't know what it was at the time, but we saw one inside the preview trailer a very long time ago. But these gravity spikes, oh my gosh, they look powerful. Well, they look they look way more useful inside zombies and multiplayer, that's for sure. They look like they'll get you out of tight situations. It's all like, oh crap, I'm stuck, but boom, you're out. And then this actually brings a problem too, because we also saw the bow and arrow. So I'm not too sure if this is going to be, which one's going to be the special weapon, or if each character gets a different special weapon in this one, or one's a wonder weapon and one's a special weapon. I'm just lost at this. I'm not too sure. Can't wait till the map comes out to actually figure this out. But then at the end we just see the dragon just like blowing fire out of its mouth, and I think that's just going to be for when you're like after you're done powering him up, or when he just woke up or whatever, and that's why he's doing that. So I hope you guys enjoyed the video. It's just so cool. If I missed anything, go ahead and tell me. And again, don't forget to like and subscribe, and I'll catch you guys on my next video. But actually, before I let you guys go, I want to leave you guys with one thing. If you listen to this Richtofen, when he says what comes up must come down, is it just me, or does his voice sound like someone who is controlling the zombies? I'll leave you guys with that, excuse me. And I'll catch you guys on the next video.